it's an honor talking to you in your illustrious chamber at here, Justdial. Big fan of what you guys are doing, right? Before we jump right into the conversation, would love if you can just, enlighten us with what your journey has been, how's it been, and then we can, build up on that.
Sure. First of all, thanks for having me on this platform, and I feel really honored to be here. The journey has been quite exciting, to say the least. Close to about slightly over 2 decades of doing various things in marketing, and 3 specific industries which I dabbled into and learned my ropes and learned all the tricks and built something. Are advertising, telecom, and internet. Last 7-8 years have been all internet, and really prizes for that, guessing why. But this is something which has been really an upcoming area, and gave a marketer like me a lot of opportunity to really play with various marketing parameters, factors, and create something of value for consumers. All in all, a very exciting journey. I have, in last 20 years, I have launched brands. I have resurrected some, dying brands. I have worked on very, very strong brands as well. I have been part of startup ecosystem. I have been part of very, very big international conglomerates. So kind of tested all kind of professional dishes that can be served to you.
Right.
And it's been quite enriching, huge amount of learning, and marketing for one teaches you to really keep your feet on ground all the time.
Right.
Though marketeers or CMOs have this image of flying high, but let me assure you, they do fly high, but with feet firmly on the ground.
Right.
And marketing is something which can be as close to getting to the moment of truth as possible, right? And dealing with consumers, thinking about consumers day in and day out, thinking about solving problems, solving challenges, it all keeps you on your toes, but at the same point of time makes everyday job extremely exciting. I have never had one single dull day in my career where there was either not a crisis to manage or something new to be done. So to that extent, extremely fulfilling and rewarding. Well, consciously, if you ask me, content marketing has been a very recent phenomena as a term, right? But subconsciously, it has always been there. When I started out in advertising, say for example, all we were doing was generating content for brands that we were working for, right? Or that we are servicing. Now, the format may have been different, the output may have been slightly different, but at the end of the day, it was all content, right? So content has been an integral part of me since my very beginning of the career.
Right.
But yes, I think I would say, to very specifically answer your question, I would say last 10 years or so.
Right.
Especially after 2013-14 types, when a lot of .com boom started happening, internet boom started happening, and we saw a whole lot of propositions coming on the horizon built on online or internet as a platform. Whether it was food delivery, or whether it was medical appointments, or whether it was any other industry category that you look at, that's when the term content marketing, and the realization that content can be really a differentiator as well as a catalyst for growth,
right.
For businesses, that started happening.
Right.
And I think last 7 to 8 years, it has really gone to a place where I don't think any brand can do without a coherent content strategy. Well, first of all, I think marketing was always storytelling, right? And advertising, as you rightly said, was one manifestation of that, one way to do, one way to tell the story. But the purpose of marketing has always been to take the core story of a product thought to consumers, right? So marketers always had to be storytellers. Now, therefore, storytelling, I don't think ever went out of fashion, right? It has over a period of time changed its avatars. There was a time in 80s and 90s when advertising was the primary way of telling your story. because it was also an era where you had televisions coming into your life, and you know, media was, different kinds of media was coming into your life, and therefore consumption of media was very high, and there was novelty factor associated with it, and so it helped a lot of brands use those mediums, new platforms, to tell their story and became iconic brands, right? So one example you quoted, there are many Indian examples really using advertising as a primary mean of business growth. It never went out of fashion. It always has been there. It's changed its format, it's changed its avatar, but essentially it's been there, right? Coming to today, from there, I think storytelling is something that has really exploded now. Why I say that is because unlike in past, where you were trying to tell a story in, say, a predefined format, okay, or in a particular predefined manner, today you have to tell stories in multiple formats, in multiple ways, to multiple kind of consumer cohorts. Right. No one storytelling is sufficient to cater to all kind of consumer cohorts. And therefore, whether it's storytelling through social media, or you know, through your above the line advertising, or through your PR initiatives, or you know, through blogs, or any other forum that you look at, a brand has to do that willy-nilly today. Mm-hmm. Right? And even within those individual domains, if you really see, say for example, within social media itself, you can't have one format or one form of storytelling. Every single social media platform has its own flavor, and you have to customize your story according to that. Look at you know, social media platforms themselves. Every platform has its own flavor, and therefore you have to customize your story. You have to really suit the taste of the audiences of that platform, and therefore repurpose the same content in multiple ways, right? So therefore today storytelling is far more exciting, because your idea has got multiple platforms, you know, for it to be distributed, and that makes it all the more exciting. Second, it also helps you reach out more and reach out deeper, okay, and reach out better, because in previous era you had limited media, and you knew that limited media was reaching out to limited number of people, and therefore as a marketeer you probably could not have done anything beyond. Today you know that if you look at you know multimedia or media multiplier as a concept, different media reaches out to probably different cohorts. Some media reaches out to few cohorts very, very exclusively, and between all these media put together, you reach out to sheer so many more number of consumer cohorts today, and consumers today. So massive opportunity for marketeers on one hand, and therefore giving an opportunity to really you know, tell your story in a very exciting manner, and in different manner to different people. So yeah, I mean, you know, to sum it up all, you are looking at a situation today where you know, content is kind of just exploding like nuclear fission or something like that. As you rightly said, I think the science of marketing has, in a way, it appears that it's overtaking arts part of the marketing. Okay. However, it's a matter of debate, may or may not be. In many ways, I think it's very, very good, because anything that is worth done should be measured as well. And measurement is something that you know, we had always been lacking over a long period of time, which also gave a perception that marketing is a very subjective function, and you know, it really cannot be, and it's a cost function, and therefore you know, there was a certain perception that marketing and marketers always used to carry. I think availability of data and availability of data on your fingertips has in many ways busted that myth, and we are today able to almost see every single dollar that you are spending, right, where it is going, what it is doing, and how well it is being spent. Though it's not a perfect science as yet, we are yet to reach there. But yes, I mean, we are on that path, and the journey looks very exciting there. The art part of marketing therefore has to go through a metamorphosis of sorts. Okay. I think it's also a misnomer that say for example performance marketing, right? When you do Google AdWords or PPC campaigns, the general perception is that it doesn't require creativity. It's all science. Okay. And folks like you or others who do SEO content would always argue that, listen, I mean, there are set formats. You know, you are doing A/B, you are checking, you are finding out what is working, what is not working, and it's absolute science. How many words you have to type, which word you have to write, and so on and so forth. You can test everything, right? Rightly so, you can. But the art of marketing that comes into it, okay, is actually in its ability to think creatively and say, even within those confined environment of, you know, certain number of characters that you are allowed to put there, how and what way is going to really excite a consumer to look at you at that point of time, right? And so I think it's very interesting play between you know, the science and arts part of marketing today as a result of that. But coming back to your question, I think marketing has always been a science. Today we just have more means to access data, to figure out responses to impetus that we are giving, and you know, plow that back in course correcting, or you know, making new strategies per se. But it also has its flip side. The flip side is CMOs like me today are sitting with so much of data. I mean, on my platform, I generate you know, millions of data points on a daily basis. Okay. Now, it's a huge challenge to really wade through all of that and to really figure out what part of data to look at, what not to look at, where can you mine what insight out of, how do you test that insight, how do you test that, what hypothesis you build, how do you test that hypothesis, and so on and so forth. So on one hand, availability of data has made a lot of things very easy. But on the other hand, it's also kind of added new challenges to marketeers, and how do you wade through this. So the science of marketing, which is still evolving, looks very, very exciting to me, and I think the future marketeers 10 years from now, and I say this because I was sitting and thinking one day, and someone had asked me this question, so I was just thinking about it. I realized that 10 years ago, what I was doing as a marketeer, today, I almost do not do any of those things, right? So this is a kind of change that has happened in 10 years. Now, with technology coming in, the space of change is only going to increase. And therefore, a marketeer sitting 10 years from now, God knows, maybe dealing with metaverse, maybe dealing with, you know, other implications of technology and marketing. The face of marketing will be very, very different from what it is today. Even digital marketing, performance marketing, the way it is known today, you never know whether voice is going to become the next text, and therefore what implications going to be, you know, bring into the entire scheme of things. So very, very exciting arena we have got ourselves into, and I think at least for a person like me and you know, a lot of fellow marketers that I talk to, this journey looks so exciting for next 10 years now, because the science is developing. First of all, marketing has no shortcuts. Learn that. While you may be tempted as a young marketeer to find and use a lot of them, but no shortcut can ever create lasting value. Second, learn that failure is essential. Not everything that you'll do will succeed. So you need to learn to take failures in stride, learn from it, grow, and try not to repeat it, and you know, and do better things and bigger things, right? And three, the glamour of marketing has a lot of hard work behind it. So I see a lot of youngsters who get too enamored by advertising campaigns and want to get into brand marketing, and you know, think of the arcades and the Kotlers of the world, and they're like, you know, I mean, you know, I need to do another Marlboro and so on and so forth, right? You need to understand that great work never happens out of fluke.
Right.
It's always very well thought through, very well researched, and very well ideated a concept that becomes great. So these are probably three things I would want to tell young marketers, if at all.
Cool. Thank you, Prasun. This was a very fun conversation. This was especially invigorating for me. Thank you for giving us the time, the space to have this very fun and casual, open conversation around this. And I hope to be in touch and learn more from you.